It is 2026, and you know that means it is time for another theme park to be opening here at the Universal Resort. We have the Universal Kids Resort Texas opening up what we believe to be summer in 2026. So today, we are going to be going over the latest announcements of the rides, construction updates, and really show you guys what that means for you as far as what to expect for the little ones. Is this park going to be worth spending your money and going halfway across the country for, or for some of us? Let's dive into that now. Is the Universal Kids Resort. So, of course, we're going to glaze over a couple of different things. We're not going to focus too much on the character meet and greet side. We know that is a thing. We know there's interactive play everywhere in each land. So what we're going to be focusing on is the specific rides. And with that being said, we're going to go left and go straight to Trolls Land.
So the first ride that we're going to start off with is the Hair in the Clouds ride. It's really just a very mild ride, as mild as you can get at a theme park. You're basically just getting in a big cloud balloon that is shaped like hair and going up, and you're having an overlook at all of the park. I'm pretty sure it is a 30-inch height requirement. Basically, almost anybody can get on this ride. Handheld infants, of course, can't get on there, but it's a mild ride, and it reminds me of a ride that we did at Carowinds, actually. It was in Camp Snoopy. I can't remember the name of the actual ride, but it was it was adorable.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the ride, but we do have a video of us at Carowinds. Be sure to check that out. We'll leave that in the description as well. The height requirement thing at this park is you're going to notice that mostly small children are very much welcome. Most rides start at a 30-inch height requirement. So basically, if your child can walk, your child can get on the ride.
I believe out of all of the rides in the land, not just this land, but all of the lands in general, there's only one ride that has no height requirement. So most of them have at least 30 inches or up. None of the rides you can bring handheld infants on. So if your child can't stand or walk, then they won't be getting on any rides here. But they probably won't care at that age, so that's okay. We do have one other ride that we have to get to in Trolls Land, which is the Rhonda's Troll Fest Express.
Yeah, that's a mouthful, but yes, Rhonda's Troll Fest Express. And not to be confused with the Catter Bus that we have here in DreamWorks Land. It is similar.
It's your kiddie coaster. Animal.
Different animal. And we know nothing about the Trolls movie, except for, I think you saw the first one, right?
I saw the first one. So this one, I believe she's from the second movie, and this is like some armadillo bus type creature. I believe if you've seen the movie, let me know in the comments. I'm sure you guys know. It's basically like your version of getting on a party bus and going to the Trolls Fest and just having a good time and having a party. So no huge storyline on this one. You're just having fun. You're going to a party.
But moving on from Trolls, we are going into Puss in Boots Del Mar is the next land that we have here on the list. Actually, no. Shrek Swamp is first.
So Shrek Swamp actually only has one ride in this land. That's okay because they do have the meet and greets. They have 2 interactive play areas, but as far as the ride goes, we're going through their happily ever after. So they have triplets. Their triplets are taking us through their love story with Donkey. And of course, since Donkey is there, I can imagine that this is going to be a very fun and funny ride.
I'm just going to put this idea out there just in case it's not too late. But I would love to see like an animatronic donkey or something like, you know how on ET, how you have him riding in the front of the bicycle. What if we had like a donkey on the front of the boat telling us jokes and kind of narrating the story in a funny way?
Oh,
that's just,
yeah.
I just put it out there. Steal that idea.
I'm sure it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. But that is it for Shrek Swamp. We are going now to Puss in Boots Del Mar, which I like how it's right next to each other. It's almost like 2 stories combined into one, which is why Shrek Swamp doesn't need more than one ride.
They're playing off of each other because Puss in Boots Del Mar, they also have one ride in there, and it is the swing ride.
The Swings over Del Mar is one of those attractions to where you probably have seen it at your local carnival fair, but it's still going to be impressive nonetheless. I love those swing rides where I'm not sure, but it looks like it kind of does do a little bit of a tilt there. So there's a little bit more thrill. The swings are one of those things that you've seen before, maybe. We actually have one of those swings right there in iDrive, where we have a large swing that it towers over the entire strip.
I don't think I'll ever do it again. It might be a one and done for me.
Now we're heading over to Minions Bello Bay Club. And this one is interesting for a couple reasons. So First thing I get is Infinity Fall vibes at SeaWorld. Just for the ride system, of course, you've Popeyes, we already have at Islands of Adventure. Then we got that.
Was the first thing that popped into my head.
But it is a ride where, of course, the Minions are fighting. That's kind of the story. The purple Minions versus the yellow Minions. They are trying to ruin each other's day, ruin each other's vacation, or should I say the purple Minions are trying to ruin their vacation. And that is where the chaos ensues with the ride. It's going to be your typical boat ride, like raft style almost.
And there will be people spraying you to get wet.
But I don't expect anything as far as any big drops. Like I mentioned Infinity Falls, I don't think that's going to be a thing.
But I definitely think you're going to get soaked on this ride.
Yeah, definitely soaked in Texas in the summertime. I think you're going to be really happy about that one.
So they also have the golf cart derby. And when I hear of that ride, they don't have the concept art for it. It immediately in my head, I'm thinking bumper cars. That's just like, I don't know. What were you thinking that? Is that what you were thinking when you heard that?
I really don't know what to think when it comes to golf cart derby, because maybe bumper cars could be the style of ride. So that's another interesting one to stay tuned on. Again, we'll have the height requirement in the description here as well, so that way you can take a look at it. But basically, there is a majority of rides, like I said, your youngest, your 2-year-old can get on. Just certain ones, maybe, I don't think this is one of them because not much is known. That is not really applying here. And now we head over to Camp Jurassic. Now it just keeps getting better and better. This is the side, I'm going to call this the adult side right here. This is for y'all right here.
So far, this is the one that I'm looking forward to the most outside of SpongeBob. We'll get to that one later though.
Next. So with Jurassic World, we go to the Jurassic World Cretaceous Coaster. That feels like a little bit of a tongue twister there.
You know what? But honestly, the name goes hard though.
Yeah,
like we have the Velocicoaster, the Cretaceous Coaster. They're really good at picking out these names.
Basically, the storyline behind that one is Bumpy. If you're familiar with the show on Netflix, the Camp Jurassic show, it's a kids show on Netflix. I think it's still on, right? Netflix.
It's still going. I used to watch that show when it first came out. Actually, it was a really good show.
Yeah, it was good.
At some point, it's like it's still going. It's still going strong.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. So one of the teenagers, Ben, he has this little pet dinosaur, if you will, and his name is Bumpy. Bumpy is always getting lost. Actually, it's a girl. Bumpy is a girl. So Bumpy is lost, and we're going to go find her. So we're going in twists and turns, going all throughout the jungle to find our little Bumpy.
And this is where I checked out with this show. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like that really, it was a thing basically. So always, that dinosaur always got lost. Every other episode will be, oh, where's Bumpy? Oh, where's Bumpy? And I would assume that this is what's going to be the thing for the roller coaster. And I would imagine that plays a part into the ride itself. You're gonna be turning, twists and turns, because you're basically looking for this dinosaur. It's Ankylosaurus. So I wonder how that is going to play a part. There has to be some sort of, not Easter eggs I'm looking for, but some sort of thrill factor for the adults that can lean into the characters here. So you have an Ankylosaurus. Maybe you might run up on, he might be surprised and whip you with his tail. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That would be so cool.
Just saying.
I think that this one sounds like the most thrilling ride outside of the Trolls Fest Express. I don't know. I think just because it's dinosaurs, for me, it's going to be more thrilling. So that's where the adult aspect in that comes in.
Yeah, and the next attraction that we have is the Pteranodrop ride. And not to be confused with the Pteranodon Flyers, because Pteranodon Flyers and Islands Adventure, you have to have a companion with you. Well, here you don't. If you guys have ever been to SeaWorld, there's the Sesame Street Land, and they have the Cookie Drop ride, a very kiddie-style ride that is a very mild, gentle drop. It's going to give you some views of the park, of the resort. You're going to be able to see all of that stuff, and it's almost like a little bit of a warm-up, a tease it to Dr. Doom's Fearfall, if you guys are into that. Actually, Aria just started riding that ride.
Yeah, so I think, and I feel like our younger kids would be too scared, even though they're tall enough. Well, our second is tall enough for Dr. Doom's Fearfall. So, but she's so scared of stuff like that. So I feel like this would be a good introduction to getting her to do something like that eventually.
What is interesting that we don't see is Mr. DNA's double helix spin. I haven't forgotten. It's actually still in the concept art as well. You can see it right here.
But we can't find it listed under the attractions.
But it's not listed under the attractions, so we don't really know. So we're not going to mention it here. We're just going to say it's a thing, and it looks interesting because, I mean, why not, right? That would be 3 attractions for Jurassic World. But as we know, not a lot is known about this park right now, other than what has been released so far. Now, that is Jurassic World. Let us finally go to Bikini Bottom. Now, this one is interesting because SpongeBob has the most amount of attractions out of all the lands here at the park.
They have 4 attractions and a beach.
And a beach.
Yeah, so they have the interactive play areas. They have the meet and greets where you'll be able to meet Sandy, by the way, which is huge. I think the one that I'm most excited about is the Jellyfish Jamboree. Back to Carowinds, they had a ride, and I think you have a clip of me. I hope you can find it. Let me tell you, that ride is mild for kids, but as an adult, getting on something like that, and I'm really hoping that's what it is, because it kind of looks the same in the concept art, to where you're like bouncing in jellyfish fields and just going up and down on the ride. And that ride was pretty wild.
I would have never considered that, because I didn't look at that ride. I didn't look at the concept art and think about that ride. I thought about
the first thing I was the one that did it, so maybe that's why.
Well, no, I mean, I was thinking about Redfish, Two Fish at Islands Adventure. I thought it was more of a spinning carousel ride. The next one that I want to talk about is Mrs. Puff's Boating School. Not only is there not concept art, but the way it's described is going through twists and turns and even backwards. So they got me with that part when they said backwards. Because I was like, wait a second. And the height requirement for reference here is 36 inches.
Right. But you know what's crazy? It actually has a max height requirement of 77 inches, which we looked it up. That's 6'5". So I was just like,
don't be tall. I immediately thought, because the height requirement, Cat in the Hat, but outside. And it's definitely possible. It's a thing. And so I'll be very curious to see how that happens, because the way, if you think about SpongeBob and you think about how he drives and Mrs. Puff's Boating School and all that stuff, and him trying to get his license, because you're going to be in that situation now, I would have to imagine that there's going to be a lot of bumpy, swinging motion. So maybe not as crazy, because if y'all remember the OG Cat in the Hat ride back in the day, that thing used to take you spin you around, spin you out of the ride, all of that stuff. I miss those days, and maybe that might be happening here. I don't know. Kind
of like Storm Force, where you have the boats kind of attached to each other and you're kind of like dodging each other, and I don't know. I feel like that could be a thing as well.
That would be really interesting. And who knows? It's a kids park. Maybe us adults are going to ruin it for all the kids, because we want thrills, right? But we have to keep telling ourselves
we need to bring it back home.
We have to tell ourselves that's not what this is about. We don't do that here. So that is the Mrs. Puff's Boating School. Now, there is also another attraction, the Barnacle Bus. I think for me, it's more so the visual of the bus, being able to get on the bus like you see in this show.
Yeah, I am confused with that one, just because it sounds like something that's supposed to be a tour, but also it says no handheld infants. So I'm like, okay, so this is an actual ride, or... have you ever seen those rides where you get on like a bus or a boat and it does the little bringing you back and forth thing? Do you know what I'm talking about? They usually have it at the carnivals and fairs. So I'm like, maybe it's something like that. Maybe it is an actual tour, and I don't know. We'll have to see.
To me, again, like I said, it's the visual, but given the height requirement, makes me think that it's going to be along the lines of maybe like a Skull Island, to where you're on a big bus. Nothing crazy is happening, but you still should probably be able to walk. Your child should be able to walk if you're going to be on that ride, because as we know, Skull Island is not an intense ride at all, but it is something that you probably want to be a certain height to be able to experience. So that is that. And of course, last but not least in Bikini Bottom is the Bobbing Barrels ride. Again, this is very interesting to us, because I think we're just excited to have some diversity in the palette here when it comes to rides that we experience at Universal, because some of the rides will sometimes take on similar traits, like Transformers, Spider-Man, Fast and Furious, Skull Island. Just different rides like that are very similar between the parks, but we're getting something a little bit new here. And so this, while not super thrilling, I'm sure you're going to be in these spinning barrels, essentially. So you're going to be either Team Patrick or Team Sandy, and you're going to be blasting each other with water. Sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah.
Not much known about the ride system itself, which is kind of the thing here. In general, we don't really know much.
You can see these little tiny, like all the way in the background, these barrels and the concept art of them. People just blasting water. You can see it shooting outside of the barrel. So
I mean, any ride that you're getting wet and getting soaked on is just plain fun.
Especially with an opening possibly in the summertime, that's going to be pretty popular.
So that is the kids resort as a whole. Ashley, what do you think so far? We went through the rides, we kind of went through, we know what's happening a little bit more than we did a couple months ago.
It has me really excited because I know that when I go to Universal, there are certain rides that I have to sit out on the side for. Not in every, single land, but there are, some points where I can't ride everything with all of the kids because, height requirements are different. But this park seems to be very inclusive to the sizes for kids, and I think they did a really good job thinking about that and how they were planning it. So that's what I'm most excited about, is to be able to experience everything with the kids.
Yeah, and with it being Universal, the fact is, if you guys are familiar or unfamiliar with Universal parks, one thing that we really love is that you can wait in line as a family on these attractions.
That's a huge one.
And they have a dedicated child swap area. And if what they did at Epic Universe is going to be carried over here, Epic Universe has dedicated family rooms and family bathrooms on every single attraction.
Because we all know when we get into a line with a kid, and even though you ask them if they have to use the bathroom, you could take them to the bathroom before you get in line. They're still going to end up saying, I have to use the bathroom right before it's time for you to get on.
If you guys have any questions, be sure to let us know. I'm not going to say we're the experts or anything, but I don't know.
We're well seasoned in this journey.
We're well seasoned, and we're always willing to help. If you guys have any comments, if you wanted to directly message us on Instagram, be sure to follow us on Instagram as well. Be sure you're subscribed to us. We're going to be breaking down pretty much everything about the resort. We're going to be sure to cover it here on the channel, and be sure to stick with us because we're having a lot of fun, and we can't wait to actually visit the resort when it opens. There's so much stuff coming up this year in 2026, but hey, I guess we'll see you guys in Texas. See y'all next time.